Hi there guys, I'm Gareth, the creator of No Stone Unturned, and today I'm going to take you through how to design memorable characters. As you may be able to see, my setup is a little bit different today. I have two cameras, hello, and I have a whiteboard. This is because I'm going to be showing you exactly how I go from nothing to having a character that can be fully usable in a story. There's 5 basic steps for us to follow, so let's get on to number 1. If you learn something while you're here, then like, subscribe. It's free, but it helps a small channel like me so much. So number 1 is the basics. This is stuff like their name, if I can spell, their age, their appearance, and their past. So let's put that in there. So we're now gonna show you an example of this. So I need to have a look around my room. This will work. I'm gonna start with this, a Blue Yeti microphone. It kind of gives me a feeling of the Pixar lamp. So I'm gonna go with that. So mic, which makes me think of robot. So I'm gonna create a robot. I'm gonna do a small drawing of a silhouette here. So it's on a single leg in the middle with a kind of bottom plate. Then it goes into a kind of wider stand like that. And then this is the mesh. So this could be like hair, and then we'll do like an eye there. And there's also a knob for controlling stuff. So I'm gonna put a little something there. It looks a bit like a mouth, so let's just make it a mouth. Haha, he's happy. So once we have an appearance, we can move on to a name. I mean, do we just call it Mike? There we go. Perfect, easy. Now we're gonna go for our age. I think it'd be fun to have a character that's pretty new to the world. So let's say 0. They are new to the world, newborn. And because of that, their past, their backstory is going to be that they were an experiment which has caused sentience. They're like the beginning of AI. So suddenly we have gone from nothing to a thing. We have Mike, the little Blue Yeti microphone who got turned into a sentient robot by some kind of scientist, I guess. Because of this, we now have the basics of a memorable character. Some things to look at while we're making this. This is a very recognizable silhouette. If I fill this all in black. This is a very recognizable shape that people can very clearly tell Mike apart from any other characters in the story. If they are human shaped, then he will really stand out. So we now have Mike. We now need to move on to number 2. I broke the rubber. Number 2, personality. Personality, very important part of any character. But there's a clear way of setting this up. We want to first think of our character's wants and needs. There you go. Then we're going to move from that to their fears or limitations. Limitations. This is ideally something that stops them getting what they want or need. And then from there, we're going to move on to quirks and habits. Let's call it habits. So, what does our character want? I think that we could make this a very simple story. New to the world, hungry, wants food. A little microphone wants food. And of course, what do microphones eat? Sound. They eat sound. So we now have a character that is trying to find sound to eat. There is a want and need. They need to eat. They need to find food. Food for them is sound because they are a microphone. So what could we set up as a limitation for this? Well, if we wanted to go really, really far with it, we would make them deaf. so that they couldn't find the sound or they couldn't do something like that. But I think this is the answer. A chord. They are plugged in at the wall. It can't go further than the plug or else it will get unplugged and maybe die. So there is a very strong limitation. Need food, can't get to the food because of the cord. And then quirks and habits. We could add a little movement it likes to do, maybe like a wiggle. Wiggles when happy. That adds to the idea of making them very cute, because the main goal here was to make them cute and memorable. Blech. Okay, so we have not just gone from Kit, the zero-aged microphone turned sentient robot, we now have Kit, the hungry microphone, who is plugged in at the wall and can't get to the food they need. There we go. We can now move on to number 3. We have to establish relationships. Kit can't be in this world alone. There has to be other people. So who are they? Maybe the owner? Maybe some tech friends that Kit can be friends with, like a lamp or a computer, or maybe even something more old school like a typewriter, anything like that. We now have an idea of who Kit could know. Now we have to know, what is their relationship like? What's it like? Owner, fear. And then we also said that they had a scientist that made them, so let's put that in as well. Scientist, probably fear even more. Fear with 2 exclamation points. Probably not fear now that we've replaced that relationship. So owner, I'm gonna move into being sweet, kind, kind of parental in a way, parental. And then tech friends, friends. Now, we know who the relationship is gonna be with. We know what that relationship is. We can now, out of this, pick an antagonist, and that's gonna be the scientist. Evil scientist. We're gonna make them evil. So now we have established Kit, the zero-aged microphone turned robot who is plugged in at the wall. Oh, it's not Kit. I said Kit. I changed the name to Kit. Crap. When did I start doing that? Mike seems too normal of a name, so we're gonna change the name to Kit. Kit. So now we have Kit, who is a 0-year-old microphone who has turned into a robot because of an evil scientist and has some friends, but can't get the food they want because they are plugged in at the wall. So we now have enough to move on to step number 4. Step number 4 is probably my favorite step to make. It is the character arc. So we're gonna put 2 points and an arrow across. We need a place to start and a place to end, and then something cool to happen in the middle. This is a basic idea of what we want to change about Kit. So if we believe that they are in the beginning naive, they are young, they are a baby, they don't know anything, maybe in the end, they are the hero. They go from naive baby to hero. That's the arc we want them to go on. It's a very classic one. So we now need something to happen in the middle of this. Something probably scary and causing the change. So I would say we can kind of rip off Toy Story here and say that the owner got a new wireless microphone. Ooh. This is based in reality because this is not the microphone I'm using today. This is. So, you know, it's quite a fun little way of making the story something real. Once we know this, we can set up a story structure and move forward. But this is basically what we need to know for just the character. So, on to number 5, the final step. Number 5, revise and refine. So now move away from this character, move into the other characters of your story. Instead of just Kit, Oh, instead of just Kit, we now have a computer friend. And we have the owner, who is a human, probably. Boom, boom, boom. We now have all of these other characters. The more we add, the more we can understand Kit's character better. So 3 big questions here can help you out. What does our character represent? What will they be? And why won't they? This is classic questions for stories. So what are they? What do they need? What do they want? Keep that in mind. What will they be? Where are they going to go on that character arc? And why won't they? What is going to stand in their way? Add obstacles, add conflict. If you've seen my video on the 3 themes of game design, you can use that to help influence this portion of the character process. But apart from that, we now have a memorable character, Kit, who is a small microphone that needs to get away from the cord so that he can eat. Suddenly we have a story and we have an influence, an obstacle comes in, a new microphone comes in. Now we don't know what's going to happen, but we can figure that out. We have a story in place and we have a memorable character, and I hope that you've learned something while you're here. If you have, remember, liking and subscribing is free, but it helps me out so much more than you realize. It is really, really useful for small channels to help other people see this content and help other people learn how to make memorable characters. So, if you enjoyed yourself, thank you and goodbye.